In this video, I need to give the community an explanation about at least 5 or 6 things, and this probably be a longer one. So, the first thing that I want to talk about is the profit protection part that was raised as a question by one of the community members as well. And this will be an answer to that. In fact, the questions that I'll be tackling in this video is a lot of the questions that he asked. I'm not sure what his real name is, but his profile name was something ninja, and he suggested these questions, a lot of these questions, and I'm also going to explain. So first I'm going to explain how the HODLR algo actually protects user investments, and then I'm gonna show you like you can see that in my monitor it's running right now. So I'm actually gonna show you on Mongo that one of the examples that I have selected, which is easier to understand maybe. So I'll show you one of those examples, and I'll also show you that what it has done so that you understand that how it's working exactly. And it'll be easier for coders to understand that how to read the code, because this entire explanation that I'm doing right now in this video is a TLDR of what HODLR is, and I'm gonna explain it in the easy method first, because there is a difficult method and I'm going to explain that in the next video, because coders need to understand what I have done in the code. So for that I'll explain that in the next video. But over here, this is more of a non-technical explanation, and also for people who are just like cloning the GitHub repo and know how to run Node.js, and that's all. So for those people, I'll show you how you can actually check the output on your console and on your MongoDB database and check that how it's working and why it is working the way that it is working. So it works in a very peculiar way, which is very different from how other trading algos work, and this is what I'll get into in this one. So it will be a little bit more, you can say that, expert level trading logic. So this is essentially trading logic. This is completely trading logic that I have implemented, and this is what we generally do in trading also. So this is nothing more than that. So the topics that I'll be covering in this one is number one, that the profit protection part, that how does it protect investments or profits, or what does it exactly do. And the next part will be explaining on the computer that how do you check in the console and on MongoDB how it is running right now. Like it's running for me, at least when I started it. If the other developers on in the community had started it back then it would be approximately 36 hours or 38 hours that it would be running right now. So that's how much it is for me. So I have quite a bit of data over here to actually analyze and figure out that it's working absolutely fine. So there is no contention about that. So the community does not need to worry about whether it is working or not, because it's already working for the last 36 to 38 hours. Absolutely fine. So there's nothing to think about that part. So what you can do is that you can actually go to the GitHub repo and clone it and then run it yourself according to the instructions that I've given over there on in the main page or readme file that I've created over there. So now let's get into the and okay, let me just go through the topics that I'll be covering in this one. One will be the investment protection part. The second will be the MongoDB explanation. The third will be that how are we implementing this method for a repeg. So I'll tell you that also, although I've dropped hints about that in the previous video, because I already said that we can actually do a burn when we are withdrawing. So most investors have already understood that how it's working, and how do we because essentially we are reducing the supply. So we are like burning off a part of USTC when you are taking out your profits. So that's how it actually works. And so that's the third part I'll be covering. The fourth thing I'll be covering is essentially that where does the collateral come from. So this was also one of the questions which was asked by Ninja. And so there are two ways in which we are getting collateral for this, so I'll explain that in that. And the fifth thing is how does the L1 devs, or when does the L1 devs actually come in, because I mentioned this quite a few times in my threads that that I do require a team essentially to be working with me, which I cannot afford currently unless this prop passes. So please vote for 11859, because unless you vote for this, a lot of the things can't be done. Like I explained in the previous video that that I need the B swap pools from Binance, and if this prop does not pass, then I won't get those pools. So I can't implement it for Lunk and USTC unless I get that, because I already explained in the previous video that I only have Atom pools right now that I can utilize. Apart from these, I can utilize say BTC or ETH, or there are many swap pools. You can actually go to their website and check the Asia version, because I'm in the Asia version. That is something that you'll have to understand, that when you are in the if you have a US account, you can't see the coins and the swap pools that I see. From my account it is different, so I can trade on those, and I can do anything. The APIs, as you can see, I have given in the screenshot in GitHub, you'll be able to see, and your view will be different if you have a US account. So what you require on GitHub is an Asia account, and I'll mention that. I forgot to mention that actually, because Binance right now in the US, you won't get any of these options. So you need the Asia account to use the Binance API to connect to the app. So this is something which I am just making it clear. So right now I can't use Lunk and USTC and deploy it right now because it's not available. If Binance, if the entire Lunk community essentially tags CZ and tells him to essentially create these pools, it's called BSwap pools. So if you create these BSwap pools, then I will be able to utilize it, and it should be available to me. I mean, like for a regular customer, I'm yet not an institutional user. You can be an institutional user on Binance as well, but I'm not that. I'm just a regular user account. So like it should be available to regular user accounts, and then I'll be able to use it. So if you guys wanna tag CZ and you wanna ask him to create these pools for both Lunk and USTC, then you can, because there used to be a pool of Lunk before this, but it's not there right now. So I'm not sure why they took it down. It might be because of the upgrades that we did on the blockchain very recently, and they couldn't implement it. I'm not sure completely what happened, but they took it down, or maybe that they didn't have enough liquidity in it. So whenever they create the pool, the community also needs to put in the liquidity in the pool, so that and also transact using the pool. So this is an implementation of a BSwap pool. So like I'm using it for a purpose, and it creates transactions on that pool, and it provides users who have provided the liquidity with the fees, which get distributed to those users. So this is actually the way that we use the BSwap pools, and for this is the purpose essentially. So now let me get into, so as you can understand, there is no pool right now that I can utilize. So unless this prop 11859 essentially goes through, I can't do it. And so there is no use people like asking me that why aren't you deploying it, because I can't. I can only deploy it on Atom currently on Cosmos. So if you want me to deploy it on Atom, I can do that, but otherwise I can't deploy it on Lunk and USTC. Now let me get into the explanation of how does it really protect investments. So now I'm sure you can see the graph and what is happening over here. So So this is a normal graph. There's nothing special about this graph. I haven't even like named it right now. So this could be any graph. This could be LUNC or USTC. It could be anything really. So like right now I think I can see the USTC price. So I can take the USTC price right now. 7.751. Yeah, it's 0.117. So it increased slightly from yesterday, which is why some of these right now if you look at it, I'm not sure. Yeah, hold on. So if you look at it, a lot of these prices which are being tracked right now are at something, they are already at something like 1.8%, 1.7% profits. Because what happened yesterday is that, so I'll show you how does it do the comparison. So it's comparing all these prices. So if anyone would have, so see, it's written over here. There is checking the number of long entries. There are 63 long entries right now, which means that there are 63 investments, mock investments that we are tracking right now. These are the prices of these investments, and they are comparing it to the current price of USTC. So this is the price of the investment, the price point at which the investment was made, and this is the price of USTC right now. It's comparing it. So every time it does a comparison, this is an output that it prints out and shows you that it won't take any action for the increase. And I'll explain this part, that why is it doing that. But essentially you can see it over here. Since it has increased a little bit, all these investments which were done like yesterday or day before yesterday are already in this kind of a profit currently. And I'll also show you in the DB that how you can check that what happens when you want to withdraw, or like at what price point can you withdraw, and how much that is, how much profit that is. So I'll just go back to this explanation. And as you can understand, this can only be deployed for Atom right now. This can't be deployed for LUNC or USDC, which is an issue, but I can't do anything about it. Binance needs to do something about it so that I have this BSwap pool available for LUNC and USDC. So this is something that I'm not sure how I'll do if this does not pass. So this needs to pass in order for me to implement it on LUNC and USDC. So right now it is available only on Atom. So I hope this is completely clear. Now let's get back to the explanation. So now let's consider that the price of LUNC is the price of USDC. So this is unnecessary. The price of USDC is at this right now. So let's consider that. And now considering that this is the price, I'll explain this, that what is happening over here and how have I implemented the investment protection. Now say somebody invests at this point, okay, which is at this price right now, whatever it price is. Now this graph takes a form like the way that you are seeing right now, and what essentially this algo does is that it protects users' investments. And so what it tries to do all the time is that keep it at this price, the price at which you have invested at, which is this price. So it always tries to increase the supply, or rather the volume that you have invested. Say you have invested 100 LUNC. So what it will always try to do is that it will always try to take this volume and try to increase it, but at this price. So in a way, what it does is that you can, I don't know whether you should call it shorting, but it is a way of shorting. So even if the market dumps, you won't lose a lot of money, because the algo always tries to do this. This is how it has been designed. That is the logic behind this actually. So, and I'll explain that how it does that. So what it does is that I have created certain conditions in the algo that I have created certain bands. Okay, so this is say a band. Okay, in which I will try to protect the price as much as possible, after which I will take a decision whether to trade or not. Okay, so say the lower point of this is 2%, which is minus 2%, and the upper part of this is plus 2%. So whatever price this is say 0.117. So whenever it is at 0.117, it begins tracking it from here, and the price is increasing, and it hits 2%. So till the point of time it is within this band, within this range of plus minus 2%, it won't do anything. It will actually do nothing. So the coders who are looking at the code right now, wherever I have written do nothing or nothing is happening, like you can even see it in the screen right now. So over here you'll be able to see that there is no action being taken, and you'll be able to see why, because it is within that 2% range. Can you see this? So you'll be able to see every single one of them is within the plus minus 2% range. I mean, this console will only show positive outputs. So you can consider this is plus. So plus 2%, it is always within that range, which is why it is not doing anything, and it's written over here that there is no action for increase. Okay, that even though it is increasing, I'm not doing anything because it's not required to be done. I'll tell you why. Because the reason is that if you continuously trade, okay, like if this is a perpetual trading algo and it is continuously trading, then what will happen is that you will be wasting a lot of fees and gas, which we do not want. We do not want to waste a lot of gas, fees, and do a lot of unnecessary transactions which are not required. So we don't do the swaps. So I've just created a safety net over here, in which it won't actually do anything whenever it is within that plus minus 2% range. So why have I done that? Because this was not originally written to be a Repeg algo, although I can use it like I've already explained how. When it was written, the idea was to protect user investments. So that is essentially what it does. It protects user investments, and so this is the main idea, that why it does not do anything whenever it is within that plus minus 2% range. Now I'll explain that what it does when it goes beyond that plus minus 2% range, because in this range there is nothing which is happening. So most of the time when you're looking at the console, there is nothing happening, and there are no swaps which are taking place, and you'll be able to see it. If you're tracking the console, it will only show you that there is no action which is being taken, because there is no action which is required to be taken essentially. So I have configured it like that, and for USTC the range is plus minus 2%, which I have configured, and which is why what you see over here is a swap which will take place much later, and I'll tell you why, but not right now, whenever it is within that plus minus 2% range. So this is one basic idea behind it. The layer on top of it is that what happens when it goes beyond plus 2%, or what happens when it decreases say more than 2%, because since this is supposed to protect user investments and it is decreasing and it is going beyond 2%, then we have to do something so that we can protect the user investment. And this is the entire idea. The entire idea is not here. The entire idea is actually here. So the necessary action which is to be taken that we traders generally do is a swap. What we usually do is that we swap to a stable coin. So this stable coin could be USDT, or right now I think Binance is probably doing away with BUSD, so we can't use that. So it could be USDC also. So we do a swap to a stable coin so that we can stabilize the price of the original investment, which is here. So it has already decreased to 2% and now it is going further. To stop that, I need to do something in order to stop this loss any further. And what I do in the algo is that I swap it to a stable coin. This is the basic idea of how this algo actually works. And over here, I'm not sure what I configured it over here, but say for an example, say this point is 5%. Like it will do a swap at approximately 5%, okay? But there is a layer on top of this, that why and where it will do the swap, and that is not an explanation that I'll do in this video, because that will come in the difficult part of it, because that will help in understanding how the code has been written and where exactly, whether it's here, or whether it's here, that will do the swap. That you'll understand in the difficult explanation, which I won't get into right now. But anyway, for the basic explanation, you can already understand that what happens is that you are essentially shorting it. So while shorting any currency, what you are doing in trading is that you are essentially changing it to a stable coin, and then telling the system that that I want to hold this investment till the point of time that it goes to a certain value, which might be somewhere here, okay? And this could be something like, say, 10%. Say it has gone from 5% to 10%. And what you have done before that is that you have swapped it to a stable coin. So what it does, two things. The first thing that it does is that it protects the investment at the original value, or whatever is the value at this point. The next thing that it does is that it begins a process of shorting automatically, because this is what shorting is, and I'll explain why. So it automatically begins a process of shorting, so that at this level, when you reach this level at 10%, you can swap back to USTC. And if you do that, then what will happen is that you can say it in two ways, okay? What essentially will happen is that either the volume increases if you consider that the price remains the same, or you can say that the price at which you have now invested it is at here, and your profit is essentially 5%, because here, when you were here and you swapped it to a stable coin, you have essentially now begun a process of shorting, and at this point of time, when you swap it back into USTC, you actually complete the process of shorting. So what you have gained over here is this 5%. And this is an extremely complicated concept of how this happens, which is why very few traders get into futures or margins, etc., because this futures and margins is all about this. So I had explained it in the last video that futures and margins are not longing and shorting. That is essentially because of this reason, that this concept is called shorting, and the method that you implemented it could be spot or a margin or a futures or whatever it is. But this process and whatever is happening over here is essentially the process of shorting. So you are shorting your trade so that you make profits on whatever you have shorted on. So this is why it's called shorting. And so this is one part in which this algo is working to protect the user investments. and it does not let the user make losses beyond this point. Okay, and whenever it reaches this point, it will begin protecting the user investment and making profit for the user. So what happens is that if the user has actually made a loss of approximately 5% over here, okay, and then the user will make a profit of approximately 5% over here, so the net profit and loss is 0, and this is how it actually protects the user investment. Now if it goes beyond this, that say the value of the coin is still falling, okay, if it goes beyond this, then whatever it goes beyond that is still your profit. Say it goes to 15%, and this will then remain, then this plus 5% that you get over here becomes your profit, because till here you have made 0 profit and 0 loss, and the algo has actually protected your user investment. And over here is where you make the actual profit based on a process of shorting, which I just explained over here. So the reverse is what happens in the process of longing. So this is the process of shorting. It's not even, anyway. So, and over here you will this will be the process of longing. So this entire thing, whatever you see over here, is essentially what is happening over here as well, in the opposite direction. So this is how it actually protects the user investments, because first it creates one band of safety net, or you can call it whatever you want, over here, and then it creates the same band over here. Okay, I mean, sorry, I don't think you saw that. Yeah, and it creates the same band over here. So this entire thing becomes a safety net for the user, beyond which the user will only make profits. And whenever the investment is within this range, this plus minus 2% and plus minus 5%, then the algo will continuously try to keep the original investment at this supply or close to this, so that the user investment can be protected. And whenever the user actually withdraws since it is liquid, the user can withdraw this at any point of time. And so whenever he does that, at that point of time, we can actually charge him a small tax or fees, which could be a burn. Now this could be a burn for USTC or Lunk or some other Cosmos coin, Atom also. So it could be anything, and it would still be able to burn it, because this entire concept has nothing to do with burning a coin. Now whatever I connect to it, I can burn essentially in this process, because whatever profits I'm getting out of this band range, because you saw that the profits are coming over here. So whatever profits I'm getting over here, say it's a plus 5% profit that I'm getting over here. So I can burn from here, I can burn 1.2% and still be able to get 3.8% as profit back. So this is how I'm reducing the supply of the coin, say the supply of USTC. So this is how we reduce the supply, because whenever we are withdrawing the profit, we can actually charge the user a certain fees, whether it's 1.2% or 0.2% or whatever it is, and we can give back the user the rest of it. So that will help reduce the supply at a significant level, because this algo, as far as I have tested it, does above 70% in approximately 30 days. and I'm testing it right now in front of you, and I will explain it in the next video because this one is already about 30 minutes long. So I'll explain to the next one that how you can check it yourself, and it will still do that. It might not do that, and that is something I'll get into maybe in a later video, that why it might not do it. But the idea is very simple, because it won't do that if the price range remains within this. So if the price range is always within plus minus 2%, then it won't make you profits. All it is doing is essentially keeping the price at this level. And if it is plus minus 5%, say, at that point of time it might do a little bit of loss, because it will make some decisions when it is here, it will make some decisions when it is here, it will make some decisions when it is over here, based on certain conditions. And at that point of time you might face a little bit of loss, because I'm telling you, like I explained over here, that first you make a little bit of loss, because unless you make that little bit of loss, the process of shorting cannot begin. So to begin the process of shorting, you first have to make a loss. So, and then the process of shorting begins, and as the price keeps falling, it keeps shorting and you keep making profits. This is how it works. So you will see losses over here in the algo, which I'll explain in the next one. But those losses are essentially there so that the process of shorting can be started. And this is what the TLDR of the algo is, which is still extremely complicated, and I did not even explain the long part, but you would have understood from the short part that what is the long part, because it's exactly the same. Whatever is happening over here, the plus minus 5%, is exactly what is happening over here also, plus minus 5%, if we go beyond this essentially. So this is what it is. And the difficult explanations will come after this, but this video has not explained because I need to explain Mongo and the rest of the things that I just talked about right now. So it will continue in a thread.